the governor of Illinois, so that's a state that has Chicago in it. Trump's been making threats towards sending in the National Guard to Chicago. That has prompted that governor to really go on the offensive and go some great quotes in that speech. But he's just like, if you come after my citizens, there is nothing on earth that will stop me. Neither time nor the variances of politics. I will see you in jail, basically.
It's hilariously crazy at the moment. Trump is going around saying the top 25 most dangerous cities in America are Democrat-run cities, and they're just not.
It's not true.
It's actually absolutely
Louisiana
not true.
has a higher murder rate.
It's just most of them are Republican run. And it just goes to show this authoritarian thing that's been going all the way through. And, love him or hate him, and, he's passable on some issues, he's terrible on most. But Bill Maher, at the last time Luxon was in, faux pas, Trump was talking about a slow-moving coup. And it's sort of kind of what it's looking like right now. So it's exactly what the worst of what people predicted to be, that he would become authoritarian, he would overtake cities, he would turn it into a military-run place, and it's exactly what's happening. And of course, he's not having to take the armies into the Republican-led cities because they do what he's told, what they're told already. The ones that don't are the Democrat-run ones. So he has to just manufacture the crisis, like that story that I just put up there was, to send the troops in. It's both horrific and fascinating at the same time, because it's like, what's the next 12 months going to be like? What's actually going to happen? It's mostly horrific, Chewie.
It's like there's reports out of the US today, I think, that the Trump administration is looking at changing laws around how you deploy the National Guard.
Yeah.
And basically sort of being able to deputize law enforcement into another organization in times of crisis, which, as that article says, you can manufacture a crisis. It's super easy. But yeah, like all of this sort of seems to me like pre-positioning your chess pieces before the other side gets a chance.
Yeah.
I almost think, I keep saying this, where is the tipping point in the States? Like you have like what Gavin Newsom is doing in California, which is actively baiting Trump and mocking him and just calling him out that he is trying to destroy their democracy. Mm-hmm. And you have people that are just going, no, all of this seems fine. You see this Chicago governor being very proactive and calling it out as well. But it just doesn't feel enough of a response to what we see here of going, holy shit, this is crazy. You have the military checkpoints on the streets. And this is the country is like, no one's going to take my freedom. And it's like, well, it looks like they're doing that, my dude. I saw a clip of them taking a firearm off a licensed firearm holder in that state. And they're like, no, you can't have a gun. And he's like, I absolutely can. I have a permit. No, you're not allowed. And they literally took his gun off him. Isn't that supposed to be like a real trigger for some of these guys?
Yeah.
Pardon the pun.
It's also fascinating. So I was watching this literally before we came on. That's why I knew exactly where this was. And one of the points that's being made now is like the Capitol Police and the DC Police have huge amounts of training when it comes to interacting with people, and they have like a 6-month training period, and then they're on probation for another 12 months. And love or hate the cops. Most people won't. You can do both. Most people may not have a great relationship with them, but the point they were making is there's a lot of training that goes in, and then you've got the National Guard, who are basically weekend soldiers who they use to help pass out, bottled water in times of emergency. They're now arming them and putting them on the streets of DC and telling them to police the people. It's pretty scary. So this is obviously the top 20, with the caveat that the population has to be at least 250,000. most dangerous cities, and 1, 2, 3, 4 are Republican. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 13 out of 20, including the top 4, are Republican led spaces. This is, I haven't queued this up, but this goes into Trump talking. So maybe we'll just give this 60 seconds, see what he's got to say, and then we'll come out of it.
Would you also consider sending the National Guard into red states and red cities that are also seeing high crime?
Sure, but there aren't that many of them. If you look at the top 25 cities that for crime, just about every one of those cities is run by Democrats.
Well, we've just seen 13 out of 20 are run by Republicans.
The president did.
There you go. That's what we need to show, because that was a pretty good little non queue up piece of video that just played out there. Spot on, nice.
At this point, like, fact checking's not enough. Like, there needs to be an alert when Trump says an actual true thing.
If we don't confirm this is accurate, just expect it to be false. Yeah, I also wonder what about the actual police and the soldiers. Because you look at what's happening with ICE and stuff at the moment, they're going along with it. In Trump's last term, there was a lot of these kind of vibes around, but as we always hear, that thing that there was adults in the room, it feels different. Like, I was always pretty confident at the last term that the system of government would hold him accountable. And it kind of basically did. He was terrible. And, a million people died because of his ridiculous, it'll just go away like magic around COVID. He is responsible for that. But government did, even when they tried to do a coup on January the 6th, it still didn't get through. People who were in the Congress, his vice running president dude, said no. So there were things in place, as bad as it was, that made it feel like it wouldn't tip over. I don't get that sense this time, Chewie. I don't get that sense of comfortability that there's things in place that are going to stop it tipping over. In fact, it looks like, if you've got a Sistema container to put your dinner in, and it's got like a base and it's got walls that go up the side, it feels like that this is just the base. So if you tip water on it, it just goes down and runs over the edges. It feels like there's nothing holding back that flow of where this could go.
Yeah, I think traditionally there's been a lot of hope placed in the American system of having those independent branches of government holding each other to account. But we've seen decades and decades of them moving the goalposts and appointing people and all of that sort of thing that's really, really damaged the hope in the system will keep people in check. And I think by the same token, Americans put a lot of faith in the oaths that police and military members take. What's that bit of like defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic? And they go, well, there's domestic enemies as well. Well, it depends. Who do they think the enemy is?
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of hope that some general somewhere is going to stand up and go, well, no, and it's just not happening. They're getting sacked. There isn't a resistance. The Democrats are being weak as shit. And as I said on Blue Sky today, it definitely feels like this is a point where Americans need to do something before it's too late.
Yeah, well, it might already be too late.
Yeah, it might be.
I have as part of my algorithm on YouTube, I watch these things called First Amendment auditors, and they go around America with cameras, and they stand on the public sidewalk and they film shops and stalls and that kind of stuff. And they're doing it to get a reaction, basically. But what they're doing is they're proving the point that they've got the right to do it. And when the police come up and hassle them, the first thing they say to them is, did you swear an alliance or an oath to the Constitution, which police have to do? And they're like, well, then you can't impinge on my rights because you should be defending what I'm doing. Every single one of those soldiers, every single one of those police officers, every single one of those generals have all pledged an oath to the Constitution. And now they're serving a man who is actively breaking the Constitution. That's what I don't quite understand. What it shows to me is all this kind of, and we said it today, it's a bit of a joke for you, Chewie, doing your stock take, but thank you for your service. What a load of horse shit. Thank you for standing up for the Constitution by saying no. Like that's actually, if you don't do that, you can go fuck yourself for your service, because it's like, this is when it really, 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 really did matter to stand by that oath, you folded and you went and took the rights away from citizens of the country, non-citizens of the countries, tourists in the countries, people who have come across the border and seek a refugee status, which is legal. You're allowed to come across and seek a refugee status, even though you may be not allowed in the country. It's a process to go through. Then you're actually doing the opposite. So I'm just, I don't think any other country in the world holds their military to the same kind of pinnacle as Americans do. But dude, you got to stop. If they're just going to go along with this unconstitutional bully wannabe dictator, then no thank yous. No, you're basically akin to Kim Jong Il's guys who march through the street doing what they're told. There's no difference.
I watch those auditor videos as well. Yeah. It's funny to see someone being an asshole. But the one thing that always strikes me with those videos, and this can go for any society, right? If you sit there and you go, well, I've got a First Amendment right to do this, you can't stop me. That might be true up until when it's not. You are trusting the idea of something. You are trusting a document to keep you safe. If that cop or soldier or whatever decides, you know what, today's the day I don't give a fuck, and you're going to jail. Yeah. You're going to be like, this is how it happens in other countries around the world. You just get black bagged and disappeared or chucked in a ditch, that sort of thing. That difference between getting away with it and going, yeah, I'm an asshole because I'm within my rights to be an asshole, and something very, very bad happening is tissue thin.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think some of those First Amendment orders actually do it to get arrested and then they sue. It's basically an income stream. But what you're saying now is under this current administration, they might actually end up in Alligator Alcatraz, not just in the local police station overnight with all the drunks. So maybe be a bit more careful.
Actually, tangent time. Alligator
Is this not aren't we? Hang on, aren't we in a tangent? Isn't
we're
tangent?
tangenting a tangent at 30 minutes. Alligator Alcatraz is getting closed.
Oh yeah,
because I haven't really looked into the story, but the local Native American tribe of that area challenged it, and because it's in their land.
Yep.
And it's being closed, is what I read.